Hello again, Howard Baxton here. In this video, we're going to look at Animesh. We're going to res an Animesh in world, and it's going to be running a full-blown version of nPose, the v4.101. This Animesh is going to be able to, in the end, it's going to be able to greet you. It's going to be able to follow you. You know, it's running that full-blown version of nPose. So you can do things like res props. You can do things like add an animation for an avatar where an avatar can sit the animation. We'll do that next time. But in this video, we're even going to do some AO overrides with normal animations. Above, at the top of the card, you'll see that you've got a Stan Lee object. Stan is a well-known figure in the cartoon industry, obviously. And the Animesh is available on Marketplace. It is free, so instead of sending you out to Marketplace to get your own, I'll just go ahead and give you this copy. I'm hoping that won't get me in trouble. I don't think it will. At any rate, if you can kind of click on Stanley and hold it and then drag it down to the platform, you should be able to res him out right here. And you can see there's his legs. There he is. There's our Stan. And when we edit, we see that he's a Stan Lee, no big thing. He's full perm, no big thing. And there's absolutely nothing in his contents. We can edit linked and walk through the links. There's 2 link limbs. This is link number 1. That's empty. And link number 2, that's empty. And it's empty. There's literally nothing in here. Okay, so we're starting from scratch, and that's what we're going to have to work with. So step number 1 here is to res Stan and add all the basic stuff like the scripts we need, utility node cards, the .init card, the set default, the adjusters, and all of that. We're going to use the updater. You can take this updater and right click it and copy to your inventory and have it there. I've already done that. I'm setting up in my 4.01 folder, and I made a subfolder, called it the nPose updater loader. I should really get rid of that. It's not a very good updater. I don't recommend you use it as an updater, but it is a loader, and it's a really nice tool to use to take a blank build and add all the basic scripts you need, and you can work from there. So when we open this card, I've already put him out into my inventory. So when we open this card, it says res the object that you want to install nPose into, and that's Stan Lee, and we've got him resed. And res the updater near the object. So here's my updater. And when we look inside the updater, we see we've got all of this stuff. We've got the scripts we need, the adjuster, even the admin HUD. We've got the set default, the .init, and all of the utility cards. And that's a good basic starting place. And step 2 is gather any extra items you'd like and put them into the object. I'm going to add one just because we've got this nPose HUD in there, and that's literally a prop. and acts just like a prop and everything else. So we actually need the prop plugin in our contents in order to res this thing. Okay, and then it'll temp attach for you. So that's all I'm going to add. The rest of it we'll have to do later. We'll build as we go. Okay, and add. Now that we've done step 2, we've added something in there. Step 3 is to edit the object you want to install nPose into. That's Stan. And add the following script to that object. And that's the add me to the item to be updated. And that's v0.01. And I have that, I'm pretty sure, in my nPose updater loader folder, which is basically right here. It's just easier to use because I got less mess over here. So I'm going to grab it from here and add this to Stan, the object I want to upload all that stuff into. And something happened that should have started the updater. It should have fired the updater. What happened? Ooh. Let me reset that script. Nothing. Well, let me reset all these scripts, I guess. I don't know. Let's delete this and start again. Is this thing running? It should be running. Huh. Is this thing running? Yes. How about in here? We have this. Yes, it's running. I'm not sure I understand. Let me halt this and figure out what's going on. Okay, I discovered my error. I added the nPose Animesh plugin script rather than the add me to the item to be updated into Stan. So let me start over here and we'll just add this. And away it goes. You see, we're updating your product. Please wait. It gives you a little text, and we'll wait for the finished signal to go ahead and continue on. So while he's updating, you see it's adding all of these. It's adding them very slowly. Okay, and we got the update is complete from Stan. Let's see, so you see everything that was in here is now in Stan's contents, and the add me script is gone. It deleted itself. It did its job and deleted itself. So what's next? We've done everything in the updater and uploader. So the next thing is to add this nPose Animesh plugin 16.3. And that's the one I mistakenly stuck in there a little bit ago. So let's go ahead and add this guy. I could have put this in the updater too as well and had it all in there, but I didn't do that. Okay, and then there's a big fat note here. Once the updater is finished, we need to reset all scripts. As the updater moves them in one at a time, and you saw how slow it was. Okay, so each time a script goes in, it does a reset. Well, some of them do a reset, some of them just go from whatever status they were. And each script runs through its startup and sends out instructions or whatever commands to the other scripts. If the other scripts are not yet added, they will miss some instructions, and then everything in the end will get confused. So in caps, I'm yelling, reset all scripts now. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we've got the edit tab open, we've got the contents tab open, and we've got a button here to reset scripts. So boom, there we go. It's as quick as that. We reset the slave, the prompt plugin, the reader, the NARC card reader, the menu, the dialog, and the core, and the Animesh plugin. So all of the scripts in here were reset for us. Now we're ready to move on. The next step is to add all of the animations to the contents of Stan. Now, the reason we're doing this is because that Animesh plugin is going to animate Stan. And in order to do that, we need to have all the animations in our inventory. Now, I've already taken the liberty of moving all of those animations into a folder called nPose animations and stuck that folder into the nPose v4.01, so I know where they're at and I can play with them. These are all full perm, and they've been dedicated to nPose, most of them, for full perm use. So let's take all of those and highlight them and drag them off over into Stan's contents. Now next, edit Stan, go to the Features tab and check that the Animated Mesh checkbox, that's very important. Features tab, Animated Mesh, we need to make sure that is turned on or this animated mesh isn't going to work. You may have noticed the land impact went from 23 to 26. That's the penalty we pay for Animesh. So Second Life doesn't want us to use a lot of these, obviously. So, and we'll go on from there. Next, we'll need to set up the Animesh's default pose. So first thing we need to do is add 3 plug-in command lines to the .init, which will help us do all of the stuff we need to do. So edit the init card and put all of these guys in its contents. So let me copy these. Right click, copy, or Control C to copy. Either one will work. And let's go to the content tab, open the init card, and add this. Okay, so now I've got those 3 lines in there. Pretty sure it said save and close, but maybe it didn't. It didn't. But we're going to save it and close it anyway. So what's next in the instructions? Another note. The Stan Animesh cannot be moved, as we have no point of reference to use for moving him. So Stan is where he is now, and we can't move him until we have some point of reference that we can go off of to move him. And so for animating Stan, we're just going to use the Mesh Animate version. And what is that? Down here, we're doing a little syntax description for the Mesh Animate. Mesh Animate is the key command, which we set up here in this line 2. Okay, so first thing we need is the body area we're going to animate and the animation to use. Now, what body areas do we support? We support body, head, hands, tail, and wings. Stan has no wings, Stan has no tail, Stan has hands, but they are not rigged with the bones we need to animate, so he's just got some basic floppers out there. And the head. Stan's head is not rigged to a bone structure either, so we can't even animate the head outside of what the body can do. So the only thing we're left with is the body, and we're going to support him with the body. Okay, so in the default card, replace all the lines with the following one line. Mesh animate a body and meditation pose. Let me get that whole line. Copy it. Go over here, open the default card, and we don't have anything in there, so we'll just replace nothing with the mesh animate. And we're going to save and close. Okay, and close. Now the next one says, last line here says, you may need to click the default button, default card button in the menu, but you should see Stan assume the pose. Let's take a look. Stan is not assuming the pose, and I can pretty much guarantee you the reason why is because I'm editing him. So as soon as I edit him, you see that Stan assumes the pose. We're done with this. Let's delete it. Stan is setting a little bit low. Maybe it's better to move him up. I don't know. Maybe not. Okay, so we just assumed the pose. It's to animate Animesh or assign a pose or an animation is as easy as that. We're all done with this now. And we have another big note here. This guy's getting crazy with notes, huh? Maybe we got to fire that guy. Okay, and this is how we would write a single animation line where a single animation is used. We can also add a list of animations, and the plugin script will run them all in a sequence, similar to what an AO would use. Okay, and we saw that up here. We didn't pay much attention to it. When multiple animations are used, the syntax is going to be a little bit different. We have the mesh animate, we have the body area, but now we have another one here, which I've kind of called randomize or not randomize. This is a flag. It's a 1 or a 0. So we'll explain that in a minute. We'll get back to that. And we also have a time. This is going to be a time interval between one of the animations. So the first animation, actually it will run for this amount of time, and then it will switch to the second animation for that amount of time, and then it will switch to the third and so on, depending on how many animations you've got here in this comma separated list of animations. Okay, now let's go back to this. If we're set to not randomize or set to 0, we add a near 0 here as a flag, it will run the animations in the order you've listed them here. That's pretty easy and straightforward and understand. If we set it to a 1, it will do the randomize. And the way it works is it grabs this set of animations you've put in here in the comma separated list. It swizzles them to some extent and reorders our list. And so whatever comes first in the list gets played for this amount of time. Whatever goes second gets set for that same amount of time, and third, and so on. Okay, so that's what all this is about, and this is the syntax you'd use. So we've added a couple of flags in here for when you want to run multiple animations. So where are we at here? Okay, we're going back down to step 3, which first instruction says uh, create a note card and name it set stories. So let me copy this. Okay. And let me go down here and add a note card, new note card, and we're going to save it as set colon stories. Okay. Now edit the card and add the following line. Here's a list of 1, 2, 3, 4 animations. And we've got a time of 5 seconds. And we're not going to randomize them, so they'll play in the order that they're listed there. And these are all going to play on the body again, and it's a mesh animate. So let's copy that and put it inside here, and then save and close, I'm pretty sure. Save and close, give it a try. So I missed one instruction there, which is added. I think I just, what is this? Okay, let's get rid of this. Let me reopen that. We're down here at step 3. We're doing this. All right, so let me minimize that. Now we need to add this card to Stan. Now we should have a menu with the default card and set stories in it. And we go to set stories, and Stan moves to the first one, which is storyteller. So Stan, and then it moves to the second one, which is look left. No, sorry, look right. I always get that confused because my left and his left are 2 different things. And then he goes to listen forward. And then he'll move on to the last one, which is listen left. Okay, and then he's just going to start all over. So he start again at the storyteller, and he'll just cycle through those again and again and again. Okay, so when we click the default card, Stan moves back to the meditate. So we're all good. That all works. And in conclusion, this is how we would set up note cards to do some things like play the piano, dance, or even have an Animesh join into a conversation with another avatar. You could do something like that. Again, since Stan has no wings, tails, and hands, and rot with arthritis and all of that stuff, we don't have to, the only one we're going to have to worry about is the body. But all of the same things apply to the wings, tail, hands, and head, and all that. Okay, so you would set them up the same in another line. So you'd use mesh animate and use a different body area, like the hands, and then your bento hands animation, and it'll play. Okay, so that's kind of the conclusion of that. Let's go down here and look at overrides. Now this is kind of the fun part because we can have Stan do some things like follow your avatar or the menu user's avatar, whoever selects it. Greet the menu user, that's what we've got listed here. So there's the greet and there's the follow. When one of these functions is activated, the plugin will look at the status of the menu user and mimic that. So if I'm standing and uh, activate one of these menu uh, functions, Stan will automatically walk towards you if I'm standing. If I'm flying, I think he'll walk towards you, but he's up in the air, things like that. And then when stop when he reaches you, okay? So the menu user, we're going to look and we're going to see whether the menu user is standing, walking, sitting, running, flying, hovering up or hovering down, or just plain old hovering without going up or down. Okay, and we have control of each of these statuses on Stan. Not on us, but on Stan. And we can do this by creating a note card for walking and adding the animations in there that we want to use for walking. The Animesh can utilize that card to mimic what the menu user is actually doing, or the status. So how do we accomplish that? Let's go try a couple of these. First of all, let's create a note card and name it dot standing. Okay, so let's name it dot standing. So let's add a new note card and name it dot standing. Okay, edit the card, and inside is the following line. So we're going to mesh animate again, the body, and we're going to use this RNP pose called nPose default. So let me copy that. And then once we're done adding that, we'll save it and close it and add it to Stan's contents. So let's just paste it in there, save it, close it, and add it to Stan's contents. Now you see we have the standing note card, dot standings, pardon me. I use the dot to move all of these up to the top of contents where they're easy to find, because you can have quite a few of them, the standing, the running, the sitting, the hovering, and all that stuff. So there's quite a few more cards you can put in there. So I just put the dot in front and move them all up to the top. Step 2 is create another note card and call it dot walking. Control C over there, add a new note card, Control V to paste it in. Now I have a note card named dot walking. Add the following line, mesh animate body, male walking. So Control C to copy that, Control V to paste it in, save and close, and add it to Stan. Contents. Make sure we've added this animation in the contents also. And I'm pretty sure we have, because we put them all in. Yeah, there it is. Male walking, and the other one was RNP default. We're using those two animations so far. Now we have two overrides set up and ready, but we'll need to let nPose know which cards to use for which of the menu user's statuses, i.e. match the status with the card to use. So in other words, if I'm standing or the menu user is standing, we want Stan to match up with our standing note card, our dot standing note card. And if the menu user is walking, we want Stan to be able to walk as well. And you can add cards for the other ones as well and put whatever you'd like in there for each one of those other statuses. Okay, so in other words, in order to um, match the status with the cards that we want to use, we have another mesh override we can use. And what we're going to do is if our status is walking, we want to use that dot walking note card. If our menu user status is standing, we want to use that dot standing note card. Okay, so that's what this line is doing, is letting nPose know what we want to do. So in the default card, we're going to add this command. This is one you only have to set once, so it could go in the default card. It could go in the .init card. Either one is fine. We don't have to run this all the time. It's just a waste of effort if we're doing that. So we'll add that and then save it and close it. Now, to set up a card to fire these things off, we're going to have to do that. So it says create a new card and name it set greet me and this button permission not seated. So the only way you'll ever see this note card or this button in the menu is if you're standing. There's absolutely no way you're going to want to put the Animesh into this greet me mode while you're sitting. It'll be tragic. Trust me, it is not pretty. You don't want to do that. And to recover from all that is kind of complicated, so don't worry about it. Okay, so let's create that card. Let me copy this. Add another note card. New note card. Paste in that name. Set greet me with our permission intact. So once we've done that, edit the card, add this line. Mesh override is our keyword. Go to is script speak for greet me. And we're going to set that to go to equal on. So that's kind of a mode. So I'll copy that and I'll paste it in here. And we'll save and close. And we'll add it to Stan's contents. Okay, now it says move away from Stan and try the greet me button. Stan should walk to you, up to you, and then stop. So let me minimize this. Let me turn that off. Let me move away from Stan a little bit so you can see that he's moving. Let's clicking for a new menu because I'm pretty sure that one timed out. Now we have the greet me button up here in the menu. So we click the greet me button. Stan stands up, turns towards me, but he doesn't want to walk. What is up with this? Oh, I don't know. Let's try the greet me. Oh, there he came. Somehow he got stuck. Interesting. Not sure why that happened. But now if I walk away from Stan, he just stands there. I believe I've added another command in there that once Stan is done greeting, you can actually send him home. But apparently I don't have that in there yet. Or it's not, at least not in this lesson. So if we say greet me again, Stan walks over and greets me. Hello, nPose tester. Okay, so we've got that working now. Here it says you can also make Stan say something when he gets to where he's going to end. So he's polite. We could do that. One way to do that is add the nPose Say plugin, and you can chat a message to greet whoever he's greeting when you get there. Now, to have Stan follow the menu user, let's create a new note card and name it Set Follow On. And we also want to make sure that we're not seated. So we're going to hide this button. Um, if you're seated, you will not see that button, only when you're standing. Sorry, I seem to have something caught in my throat today and it's giving me issues. So let's create the note card, use the name, and then edit the card, add this command, which is follow. So follow is another mode, like go to, and we'll turn that follow mode on. So let me copy that, paste it in here, save contents, and then add it to Stan's contents. So let me edit Stan. So we've got the greet me, and now we've got the follow on. There it is. Okay, so we should see follow on in the menu, and we do. So let me move away from Stan a little bit. So he's pretty much going to mimic the greet me at this point, first stage. But in this case, when I move, you will see that Stan follows me. Okay, now we have only one option to stop the follow. When we switch to the go-to mode, that automatically kicks him out of the follow mode. So then all Stan does is come up and greet you. And that's pretty much what this says. And it also says we can also create a card to do this. Let me demonstrate that. Okay, Stan is still following me, right? So let's do the greet me. You see Stan moved up to me to greet me, and you see he stopped following me. Okay, so with all of that done, let's go ahead and go on down here and create the next one. It says create a note card. It says set follow off. And this one, yeah, we don't want to show it unless you're standing. So we'll create one more card. Paste the name in there. And we'll turn that follow mode off. So let's copy that command, add it to contents, save and close. And add it to Stan. There we go. So now when I click Stan, I've got to follow off. Are we still in follow mode? No. So let's turn follow on. Stan comes to me. and he follows me. Let's turn him off. Now, as you see, Stan is just sitting there. Can actually have him greet me to bring him over here in my area anyway. So let's do that. And no follow mode. Okay, that should do it for this video. Thanks for hanging around.